Hello and welcome to the grand finale of me versus LEGO Hero Factory. My name is Taj and these are my revamps of the LEGO Hero Factory Invasion from Below Beasts. Alright, so let's kick things off with Jawbeast. And here he is next to the original. So I feel like the massive size difference deserves a little bit of an explanation. When I was initially doing the Hero Factory revamps, I was only focused on the villains, and I decided that I wouldn't bother with the mechs, so I made them all with this scale in mind, and then later on I decided to make the mechs, and here you go, I have massive kaiju Jawbeast. And since Invasion from Below was Hero Factory's finale, I felt like it was appropriate to keep the monsters giant. But anyway, on to Jawbeast. The original is a fine set. I really like the colors and it's got fine enough articulation. But one issue I have with it is that it's called Jawbeast and they gave it the overbite, so its jaw is smaller than those with the underbite. So the first thing that I really had to do was give this thing a defining jaw, which I think turned out pretty well with those Ben 10 tails, and I like the little tongue that I put in there. Just adds a little extra detail and also fills in the mouth a little bit. I decided to completely remove the light blue from the color scheme just because I felt it was fairly unnecessary, and there are multiple other beasts that use both the azure and transparent blue, so it really wasn't that high on my priority list to use it in this figure. I decided to swap out the little talons on the original for actual hands using this fairly simple design that I think turns out pretty well and definitely gives them a more hulking, brutish look. Something else I'm fairly happy with is the tail. I really like the way that these spikes kind of form spines on the back of it, kind of like a classical dragon, and the original also had a tail, so I feel like it just fits in pretty well. And then I've also come up with this fairly simple custom leg design that I've been using for a while. The piston both provides stability and bulks up the figure quite a bit, and I'm pretty happy with the way this front armor turned out, because it's also designed in a way so the front piece of that Technic connector isn't going to break off as easily. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Jawbeast. Next up is Flyerbeast. Okay, so the size difference between these two isn't as extreme, but anyway. If you saw my 15 worst Hero Factory sets video, you'd know... Oops. If you saw my 15 worst Hero Factory sets video, you'd know that I do not like the original Flyerbeast. It's a very bare-bones basic CCBS build with these awful wings that do not look like they could catch air and actually make this thing fly around. So I decided to do a couple things for the wings, the biggest one being that I swapped the actual parts out for bat wings, and also put the wings on his arms like a bat, because this is a flying cave creature and that's exactly what a bat is, so it just makes sense. I decided to remove the human hand because I still think they look really stupid on non-human creatures, and I'm not a big fan of the way this claw turned out. So I just kind of swapped his hands with this kind of pretty simple custom design using Technic connectors and barbs that I think makes an effective looking claw. Like Jawbeast, I decided to give him a tongue, which kind of helps fill in the mouth. It's a little splash of color, and I think just looks pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Flyerbeast. I think this one turned out pretty good. Alright, next up is Splitterbeast. Alright, time for another very dramatic size comparison. The original Splitterbeast is a very alright set. I think it looks pretty good when both beasts are combined. I really like the lamppost that it has. My only real issue with it in this form is that there's not enough solid orange, despite the fact that one of the heads is solid orange, but it's the only like solid orange on the figure. Or I guess I should say both the original figures. With mine, I really wanted to give both of the beasts their own color scheme, so it kind of sells the idea that they're supposed to be separate creatures, just kind of symbiotically existing. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and separate each of the beasts from each other. And as you can see, the larger one looks incredibly naked and just very bare bones and skinny, and the orange head really stands out so much more in a bad way. This thing needs its other half to even look like a competently made set. And this thing's gimmick is that you're able to split it in half and turn it into a secondary beast. But anyway, here's that one just kind of straightened out. But anyway, let me just go ahead and take the other beast off of mine, which holds in there pretty well. It's done with a ball joint. And yeah, I think I definitely succeeded in making the main beast look like an actual complete creature without its little companion just kind of hanging off of its back. And the orange doesn't look like it's just been artificially placed into the figure. But anyway, here are all four of the beasts just standing side by side, I guess. And now I'll compare the small ones together and the big ones together. So here is the small Splitterbeast. And here he is next to the original. So the original is actually not that bad of a build. I do like that it has knee articulation, and I think these little talons look cool. But anyway, I decided to swap the talons out for claws using these Ninjago swords that are the same azure color, and I think they look pretty good. They definitely look like something that you can just kind of swipe around randomly. Pretty happy with this torso design using those azure pieces, and the exposed ball joint is actually there for the combining function with the main beast. I'm pretty happy with the way this back armor turned out as well. It just kind of gives a neat little silhouette and gives a little extra shaping so this thing isn't just some generic CCBS creature. And I added the orange tongue because I just had one of those pieces available, and I think it's, again, just a nice little bit of extra detail. And for no other reason than I think it's kind of funny, here he is next to the original main beast. My small beast is significantly bigger than the original main beast, which is just kind of funny. And here is the large Splitterbeast. And here's the Laughingstock original. So some elements I did want to keep from the original were these claws and these spikes, which kind of gave me inspiration to just kind of give this thing a whole spiky texture, which I think makes it stick out pretty well. I went and used a bunch of system tile pieces to kind of just cover up a bunch of blue pins and open pinholes and stuff. The lower legs use a custom design with Technic lift arms and old bionicle necks, and it could be better, but I think it does its job just fine, at least for a display model. Something that I'm pretty happy with is the tail. I really like the way that these spikes look, and I really like that I was able to use a brick separator because any avid LEGO collector just has a surplus of these. And the socket on the back is for the beast combination, as well as these open axles on the knees. Because the secondary beast has kind of an added benefit as just extra leg supports, which I guess are more necessary than I remembered, because this thing just does not want to stand up. But anyway, let's actually show off how the secondary beast connects. Just gonna take him and completely extend out his legs and turn his feet backwards and put his arms up. And then you're just going to connect that socket joint to the ball joint on the torso, which unfortunately sometimes it will just kind of pop out if you're doing stuff. And then you're going to put the open axles on the pinhole on the secondary beast's feet. And then you're gonna fiddle around with the secondary beast's legs so the primary beast can actually move his knees. And then you're gonna take the claws on the secondary beast and just kind of move them around and put them into a position that you like. And I'm just gonna kind of jump cut a little bit. And yeah, that's the beast together, and I think that's finally it for Splitterbeast. Next up is Tunnelerbeast. And here he is next to the original. Now, I like the original quite a bit. I think he might be the best beast set right next to Jawbeast. The only real issue I have with it are these hands. I don't like the way they're constructed with this weird axle in it. And I get that it's designed that way so it can hold stuff, but the only thing this set comes with that he can hold is Surge. I decided to try to translate over the little talon pieces with these scroll swords, which I think turned out pretty nice. It's actually a lot more stable than you would think it is. But a little issue that I am running into is that one of the joints on the torso is cracked, so just kind of bear with me with that. I really like the way this Ben 10 torso worked out. It's very lightly armored, and yet it looks so just complete. I'm pretty happy with this hand design as well. It's a pretty basic design, but I think it's the job done just fine. And it does look like you can actually like dig stuff, since it is the Tunnelerbeast. I think that just kind of works out and makes sense. So something I did just kind of discard from the original was the green, just because I felt like the red and black was enough. Red and green is a very overused color scheme in Hero Factory, and I've got another beast that uses a bunch of green anyway, and there's that cracked joint just kind of doing its thing. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the Tunnelerbeast. I think this one turned out pretty nice looking. And next up we have Crystalbeast. And here he is next to the original. Now, I think the original is a fine set, but if it wasn't covered in transparent blue, it would be significantly less of a fine set. These little green crystal spikes on his back, head, and weapon kind of just gave me the green light to make green just kind of a secondary color on mine, and I think that it pops really well. The transparent blue kind of looks like the Takedoc's armor, which glows in the dark, and I also have these scroll swords that glow in the dark, which are this sand green color that I had a bunch of, like a bunch of random Ninjago weapons. So I decided to just throw sand green into the color scheme. The upper arm design is, I believe, just ripped straight from 2008's Takanuva. Just the same build, but blue and also backwards. I also used these skull spiders that I like quite a bit, and I think something that may change in the future is the custom jaw design. I mean, I like it for the novelty of it being a custom jaw, but I'll have to see how it looks with one of the official jaws. And I also do really like the way that the swords kind of make him look like crystals are protruding out of his back. One of the skull spiders just fell off. But yeah, I do like just kind of that protruding, like, random jagged crystal look that he has. And I'm especially happy with the way that the scroll swords on the back look, because they kind of give a silhouette reminiscent of the original figure. So I decided to give him these kind of wrist blades because I'm just not a really big fan of this wild creature just having a regular weapon that he holds. I think it's just a little too weird, and I prefer my beasts to not have human elements to them. But anyway, since this is made with glow-in-the-dark parts, here he is glowing in the dark. The Takodoc's armor doesn't glow as well as these scroll swords, but I still think it looks pretty cool. It's just kind of a nice, novel little thing, especially for a cave-dwelling creature that just kind of glows in the dark. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Crystalbeast.
And finally, we have Queenbeast.
The original Queenbeast, it's an alright figure, but it just doesn't really have that final boss quality that I feel like it really should have had for being Hero Factory's final big bad. Something I decided to immediately change was the head. The original head works just fine, but it's very rare on Bricklink, and I honestly prefer the Azure head from the small Splitterbeast. And I honestly wanted to discard as much of the dull black as I could and put in as many bright colors as possible. I decided I would maintain these little ornaments on the body, but I raised them up just a little bit so they're much closer to the head, and of course I made them gold. The original has this little golden crown design, which I guess works fine, but I decided to just kind of beef it up as much as I could. I really like the way this Scarox head works out. Meshes really well with the Azure head. All the Wave 2 beasts share this exact same hand design, but for my hand design, I decided I would use just a bunch of golden blades, and I think it looks pretty cool. I decided to kind of condense the torso a little bit because I think for, like, again, that final boss quality, this looks a bit frail. And I really wanted to make something that was just a very, like, densely armored creature, just willing to protect her colony at any cost and will destroy everything in her way. But I did keep the cocoon on the back just for that extra shaping. Speaking of which, the hand design can kinda hold cocoons. It's not the most stable thing, but I can at least kind of pose her holding cocoons. I'm pretty happy with the stability of this thing. I think the legs turned out really great. The only issue is that it is using Bionicle G1 parts, and I never really bothered to buy the pre-2008 parts that don't break so easily, but oh well. And then the back legs are this double-jointed CCBS build, kind of reminiscent of the original, and again, I think this thing just looks like an armored tank, and I really just love the way it came together. But yeah, I guess that's really it for the Queenbeast. And that's gonna be it for this video and I guess series. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, a comment down below if you haven't already subscribed, because just because I'm done with the series doesn't mean I'm gonna stop making content. I've got a few things lined up, ready to go. So until next time, take care.